We're going to continue another 10 minutes in Sichos Haran. Okay, so we're holding by Lamed Vav 36. Yeah, continuing. Nachman says the following. V'omar, he says, Oidia's man, is going to come a time, Shemi sheyeh ish kushar pushet. That's someone that's called a ish kushar, kosher person, pushet, simple. Yeah, chiddush, is going to be a chiddush gudel. Kamoy abal Shem Tov zechor levrocha. That's the end of 36. This is right after 35. So we'll do a quick, short summary of 35 and a short summary on this. So in 35, Nachman's telling us 200 plus years ago, there's coming big atheism, great APIKORSIS. He says it's coming. 200 plus years ago, he says it's coming. And he explains that this is mamash going to happen, and even though it was already prophesized in Nach, Daniel, he said Alpha Bikain, it's going to happen. Okay, and he says that those that are going to hold on to simple emuna, the simple one. The simple Amuna. I'm talking, the simple, Hashem created the world, Hashem's running the world, Hashem is right here, the same Hashem created the world, the same Hashem, Ahron Yitzchok Yaakov, leading us all the ways to Mitzrayim, out of Mitzrayim, Har Sinai, giving the Torah. Same Hashem is right here. That's, the simple Amina. Those people, those, Yidden people, they're holding on to that simple. They're going to somehow have strength. And those that are, going to get swept into this wave of APIKORSIS, they're going to go further and further. And this is what's going to happen. And Rav Nachman, tells us from Sichos around 35, this is going to happen. He says that, why am I telling this to you, even though it's going to happen? He says that so that when you're going to be reading about this, when this is mamash going on, you're going to get chizuk, and it's going to be the ma'ashiv nefesh. It's going to be a comfort for the nefesh. Okay. Now in 36, he tells us it's coming. It's going to come a time that someone that's going to be a ish kosher poshet, right? It's going to be a chiddush godel kamoya b'Hashem Tov zechor levrocha. So just a quick summary. We, us right now, this generation. So we're born, knowing about the Hashem Tov from we see, whatever we see from the Sfarim, Tamid of Hashem Tov, Sfarim, different Chasidus, and it's clear to everyone that Hashem Tov was a major Chiddush, Hashem Tov. Depending on, what we learn, which Sfarim we learn, but it's very clear that Hashem Tov was a Chiddush. So Nachman was coming to tell us that it's going to come a time with the, this wave of APIKORSIS that's going to take over the world, that those that are going to be just the ish kosher poshet, it's going to be a chiddush. Wow. As great as the Baal Shem Tov. We'll leave it over here. Lamed Zayin, 37, yeah? Continuing about APIKORSIS. He says, APIKORSIS, this is actually a major chizuk for APIKORSIS, because we don't want to be caught in the Chaz V'Sholem, this category of APIKORSIS. There's no olam haba if someone's caught into that category. He says that because it's nikras masa, it's considered, it's called a maso. Maso means like a burden, yeah? Kamosha kosev Rashi al maso achem. As Rashi, this is in the Varim, he says that the word maso achem in the parsha, I think it's referring to the story of the Meraglim. He says, Rashi said over there, Malamet shahay behem APIKORSIS. Malamet shahay behem APIKORSIM. That in that story, in the Varim, I think it's the Meraglim, he says that there was APIKORSIM. So this word masu achem, burden, is, teaches that this is APIKORSIS. He says the following. He says, Al Kain, therefore, he says, Yishin Nisayla Tzaddik. When a person makes a journey to a tzaddik, that means a person hears about a tzaddik and he decides, you know what, I'm going to go to that tzaddik. I'm going to make the journey, whether it's the caver of the tzaddik or whether it's the living tzaddik. You hear there's a tzaddik somewhere and you decide to make that journey. So Rav Nachman explains, he mashlech my olav masay gedoyla. And what you're actually doing is you're throwing off from yourself a great burden. Why? He explains, the fact that you actually went and traveled, so that means that you have belief. You go into a tzaddik because you have some kind of belief. That's what's bringing you to the tzaddik. So Rav Nachman says, after you made this journey, that means that you have some amina. That's the opposite of APIKORSIS. Just a quick summary of this. That's the end of 37. So Rav Nachman says APIKORSIS is called a burden, and he says that even if a person somehow is caught up in it, you don't want to be caught up in APIKORSIS. But he says if you make a journey to a tzaddik, you're actually throwing this burden off you, because the fact that you made the journey, that means that you have some emunah, which is the opposite of APIKORSIS. Okay. Next one, we're going to do Lamed Ches. We're going to jump in, continuing with, what Rav Nachman, this is 200 plus years ago, was a big problem. So Rav Nachman is quoting a pasuk in Tehillim. He says, Lamed Ches, yeah? Shati v'shemayim PM el shoynam tihalach ba'aretz, which means, Shati v'shemayim means that they make a mark, or they place. They place Vashamayim PM. They place their mouth in Shemayim, Elashoinam, but their language, the halach be'aris, goes about on the earth. This is from Tehillim, David HaMelech. Yeah. So Nachman explains, Ki Achshav. He says now. This is 200 plus years ago. Ki Achshav nispashat u'APIKORSIS. So he says now, it's unleashed APIKORSIS, atheism, shehitra heritzia, so that it's unbound, it's opened up this ritzia, this knot, ledabe sora, to be able to speak, whatever you want, al kol tzadikim, al kol yirei Hashem. To be able to speak, sorrow, bad, whatever you want on all the tzaddikim and all the yirei Hashem, yeah. So Rav Nachman says, "V'hi kamoi," and it's like misha poisha the shoynoi. He says, what it's really like? It's like someone that's unleashing his mouth, his words, neget kol ha'olam, against the whole world. She'ein mashgiach al kol ha'olam, and he's, as there's no one mashgiach. It means there's nobody watching over the whole world. Yeah, someone that goes and speaks against all the tzaddikim and the yirei Hashem. Continuing. In the Emes, Rav Nachman says, the truth is, APIKORSIS, this, APIKORSIS, that what they're doing, that they're speaking against the tzaddikim and the yirei Hashem, he says, he neged Hashem yisbarach be'asmai. He says, it's actually going directly against Hashem. Continuing, he says, however, she'em boishim ledavar beferish al Hashem yisbarach, since these APIKORSIM, these people, they're embarrassed to speak against Hashem, directly. So what do? Hey mahapchen APIKORSIS, they, turn over the APIKORSIS shalahem that they really have against Hashem, the davar al olam. They say we're not going to speak against Hashem, we're going to speak against the world. Yeah, continuing. So Rav Nachman was telling this, and he said to Tehillim, he says, Shati v'shemayim PM. This is what it means, that they place their mouths against Shemayim. Continuing. Sheba he says the truth is what they're speaking with their mouth. He be'emes lamala b'shemayim. Really, they're speaking against Shemayim, okay, against Hashem and Shemayim. Kikar devraim, because the main words that this APIKORSIS is going on. Neged Hashem yisbarach keviyachol keniskar le'el. It's against Hashem, as explained above. Continuing. Ach l'shoinam, however, their language that they're using, the halach ba'aretz, it's as if they're just speaking, of this world, of what's going on in the world. Yeah, continuing. Because they're embarrassed to speak directly against Hashem. Continuing. Al kain, therefore, therefore, their language, the halach, it goes ba'aretz, they're concerned about, the world, yeah? Shepoishim l'shoinam, nega the oilam canal, so they unleash, they speak, about the world. Continuing. Amal be'emes, Nachman says, the truth is, you should know, Shati v'shamayim, PM canal, you should know, they're really placing their words directly against Hashem. Okay. That's the end of 38, yeah? We'll do a small summary on this. This is a tremendous chizuk if someone's connecting, one to the next. So this is all, 200 plus years ago. And Reb Nachman was he's predicting the great APIKORSIS that's coming. But obviously in his time, there was already, it was starting already. And he's explaining that when you see this APIKORSIS, he's quoting, from the Hillim, Shati Bashamayim PM, that they're, David HaMelech says that, really what's going on, because David HaMelech is giving us Nevuah. It's so he's telling us that really, when you see the APIKORSIS and they're speaking about the world, they're concerned about the world and this and whatever it is, they're speaking against the tzaddikim, Yirei Hashem. He says really, they're speaking directly against Hashem. First of all, obviously tzaddikim, amitiyim, they represent Hashem. Yirei Hashem, they're Yirei Hashem, right? But these people, again, this APIKORSIS, he says, they're embarrassed to speak against Hashem directly, Hashem directly, God. So what they do is, they speak about the world. They're so concerned about the world, but the Nachman says, really, David HaMelech is telling us, Shati v'shamayim PM, shoyim the halach ba'aretz. But really, they make believe they're speaking about the world, but really, in their heart, they're going against Hashem. And Nachman, because this was 200 plus years ago. So this is one that, each one should take out for their own, the chizuk that's needed. And we should be zoiche not to be caught into this APIKORSIS. As Nachman says in 37 from before, that APIKORSIS is like a burden, and he says that if a person, travels to a tzaddik, for whatever reason, he has some amina, goes to the tzaddik, you're already throwing off this burden of APIKORSIS, because amina is the opposite of APIKORSIS. Okay, we're going to stop over here.